Welcome to another episode of the Infinite Energy Podcast. With you, as always, Alexander Wolf and myself, Danny Mueller. And then our special guest today is Florian Achatz. He's the CSO at SL Racking. And welcome to the podcast, Florian.
Yeah, many thanks for the invitation. So I'm happy to be part of it. Great.
Awesome. Obviously, you guys have started looking into the North American market, so we thought it was really important to have you on and let people know about SL Rack and what you guys do, and then also about you personally. So with that, do you want to get started, Alex, with the first question?
Maybe starting. Frankensolar is a Bavarian company. So is Schledder and SL Rack. We have a heritage together. We do business together for multiple decades, actually. So, how is growing up in Bavaria like?
Well, growing up in Bavaria is, for us, it's daily business, let's say.
Good place to be in.
So it's a great place to be, but I also guess in Canada it's great. So this is where you are. Yeah. So we have everything what we need in Bavaria, but we want to enter the North American market.
Florian, how did you personally, how did growing up in Bavaria shape your career, and especially how did it lead to renewable energy?
Yeah. So in my person, so I grew up in the southeast of Germany, so where I still live with my family. So this is close to the Austrian and Czech Republic border. So if you have a chart, please check it. But it's great to be there. So we have the mountains. We are very fast in Italy, where the sun is. So it's a great place to be. And you asked me about how I reached the solar sector. So after my apprenticeship, as a mechatronical technician, I did a bachelor study in electricity and business economy. And there was a long trip after to come to solar. So in 2007, 2008, I worked as an electrician on an oil and gas rig, which is the complete opposite to solar. It was very dangerous, very dirty, what it is also today, I guess. And after I changed internal after I changed in this company internal, I built melting chambers for titanium, installed those in USA, and worked as a leading electrician for poly and poly melting chambers and monosilicon production lines. This company produced both oil drilling rigs and these chambers. At this time, the first solar wave was what's going on in Europe, and I learned what is going on here, and especially in Bavaria. Most of the roofs are full covered, and also a lot of solar farms are installed. And at this time, I learned about these products, and it was very interesting to see how it is going on. So I can remember the first machines were thin film production lines for first solar, and the poly melting chambers were for some companies in Norway, maybe out of order, I don't know, but it was very interesting to see. This was the beginning of solar in 2007, 2008. Yeah.
So what made you want to make a switch into renewables, and what was the toughest part about it?
Well, the switch to renewable after my study was that it was unbelievable in Germany, and it was very easy to enter in this sector because we had because of the feed-in tariff, we had a lot of work in renewables. And for me, it was very easy. I started there in a company to building solar farms. So I remember in 2010, the first sentence of my boss was, in March, you will build the first megawatt, which was in 2010 a big investment if you consider the panel prices, the history prices. And then we built every year 5 or 10 megawatts, and it was great. So to be a part of changing electricity from this dangerous, dirty energy, as I said, gas and oil, to renewable. So there is no discussion to go way back.
Yeah, a megawatt back then, that's like 10 megawatts now, right? It's changed so much, which is really also part of the allure, and being being in an industry that is a huge paradigm shift on how we produce and consume electricity.
Exactly. Well, as I said, so now, today 10 megawatt, if we get a request, it looks as a standard project size, but 10 years ago or 15 years ago, it was a huge invest. So it was really great. Yeah.
Yeah.
You also installed solar pretty much all over the world. We were talking about you were in Rwanda, in South Africa, and other places. What are some takeaways and the experience in these countries early on in the solar industry that you brought back home?
Mm-hmm. Well, this was very interesting. So I'm not always installed it by myself, but I was on site and as a site manager and also some installations. It took me to some great places like the biggest platinum mine in the world in South Africa, or very poor regions like Rwanda, or also not only in Africa, also in Europe. Well, this is, let's say, the other side of the coin. So it's hard to see the poverty next to solar farms or PV system. So yeah, I had a lot of these situations where you can say, okay, here on one side you have a big investment, on the other side is not enough to eat on the table, you know. So this is, but on the other side, if you do not the solar business, you can't see it. So it was very interesting, but brings you back to the roots where you are coming from. So it's important to also to see this and have these situations.
Yeah, Alex and I had similar experience when we visited China.
Mm-hmm.
You know, seeing the wealth in the cities, and then going to see solar farms, and just outside the solar farms, there seems to be a lot of poverty. So it's a huge change, right? And we're not really used to that growing up in, Germany, Switzerland, Canada. It's so different.
But it is important to know, and it is important that we talk about when we are at home, because the most people don't see this only in television, and maybe this is not always the truth, So it's important to have this in mind and think about this, and also bring this information to other people, because not, as you say, every day is a standard day, or it's not, how can I say, it's a gift what we have.
Yeah, we're certainly privileged on where we grew up and the opportunities we've been given. Changing gears a little bit here into SL Rack, and you guys have been around for a few years now and made huge headway in the European market. But now you're starting to look into the North American market, and I was curious on what made you guys decide to pursue this and invest into this.
Well, maybe I have to start a little bit earlier with our history. So SLREC is a very young company. So a few years ago, Ludwig Schletter, and you hear the name Schletter, started in 2018 SLREC. Before, he was the former and owner of the Schletter Group, which was market leader until, I guess, 2015, which is, and if I say market leader, he was present with his company in all markets, producing in all markets, and was not only so-called market leader. He was also a pioneer. What he did in the history. Long story short, in 2018 he had to found again. So means we are the original, but not only the original. We are also the innovator, the pioneer, and let's say all the good things are in SLREC. What makes us interesting for installers, not only in Europe and also in North America, we are forced. We are take care about the customer. We have an open ear what is requested in the market, for sure, also with a necessary certification process and so on. And this brought us the success over the last 3.5 years because of the big solar bubble in Europe. So we had the chance, and we did the work to ramp up from a very small company into, let's say, the top 2 or top 3 in the German-speaking market. We are very happy about this. And we started in front of our company. to get the first installers, to get the first wholesalers, to start a business with them. But this was unbelievable. We had an unbelievable speed, and with innovative products, which are not the same products for the North American market, but for Europe, we had this success. And now we have a branch in Spain. We have in Italy. We are working with sales representative in the MENA region, also in Benelux, in UK, and yeah, luckily we can start now in North America with Franken Solar, and this makes us very, very happy.
Can you give us a little bit of an idea of how much volume you guys do globally at the moment, or in Europe at the moment?
Well, I'm not the type who wants to talk about revenue,
Sure.
But what I can say is I only give you a number. So we produce, for example, our ground mount by ourselves. Our ground mount system is produced by ourselves, and we sell 2.5 gigawatt per year. So, and the same we do for rooftop, for flat roof system, for pitched roof system. So it's around around 4 to 5 gigawatts. What we ship in installation in aluminium and steel,
Yeah.
and if you consider that the panel size always going up and going up, it's a good number. So we are growing with the panels, let's say.
That's impressive.
So that's 4.5 gigawatts per year, right?
Around that, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
So breaking into a new market like the North American market is never easy. What led SLRAC to expand into North America, besides, of course, the core market of Europe you already have? And what have been the biggest challenges looking into North America and over the pond?
Well, there are a few points we have to, or I have to explain. First of all, the let's say the intention of Ludwig Schletter to go back in these markets where he have been. Also maybe as a market leader or not, but we want to go back to these markets. Then the next step is you two guys. So the barriers are not too high to start business together because you are from the Bavaria or from Switzerland. You talk our language, so we can do business in German as well. This is also good for us. Then Canada is the next step to go with SLRAC into the market, and also because of you, because of Franken Solar.
Your products really focus on making life easier for the solar installers, right? Can you give us a little bit of insight on how you go about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So our aim is that we not only be the typical steel and aluminium supplier. So we think the whole process, how to install the panel according to the installation manual, how to be according to the national regulations, like you have the certifications, fire test, and whatever. So also important for us is that we have products with an easy installation. Only one tool is required. Like we have to use only a battery-powered drilling machine with a TX40. Then no other items are required. This makes a slim installation process for the installer. So everything is pre-mounted. So we don't want to have bits and pieces on the roof, which makes it complicated. Then next thing is on every our items we have a QR code which you can scan, and then you can see the installation video or the installation manual. This is it's well, we have not the sexiest product, but we want to make it as fast or as easy as possible for the installer or for the wholesalers when it comes to the warehouse topics and so on. Yeah.
So every market, as we just discussed, has their own requirements and standards. So you already touched base on that a little bit. We want to go a little bit deeper into it. North America has its own set of regulations and standards. Maybe you can quickly talk about your compliance with all the local regulations for UL and CSA here in Canada or the US.
Sure. So this is for sure. It makes it a little bit, let's say, you can do business in Europe a little bit faster than in Canada, to be honest.
Absolutely.
But regulation is a regulation. That's good to have and makes a clear process. So what we do, we are in certification with the most products are done. So it means you can sell it in your web shop, for example. What we are working now is we are working to get the permission for our new flat roof system, which is called the Fast Flat. The name is I guess the name is enough to understand what we want to do. We want to do it fast, and we want to do it on flat roofs. And for all these products, we will go into the certification process. And you asked me regarding the demand of the market. So when we see there is a special demand on the market, we have an open ear to understand what we have to do it with you together to find the right item for the installers.
From our side, we're super excited about the Fast Flat. We've got a few guys on the team that have worked for racking companies in the past. They are super excited about it. We've had some initial conversations with some key installers that we work with, and they're super excited about the product. So I think it's really going to revolutionize how flat roofs are being installed in the Canadian market anyways. So super excited about that from our side.
Maybe let's talk about a few features of the Fast Flat, because I think that's the super exciting part. When I was watching the video and your presentation, when it was initially released and then seeing drawings and everything, maybe you tell us a little bit more about the product, Fast Flat. What is it all about, and what are the key features of that product line?
It's very easy explained. So we had a pain in the history with flat roofs because we wanted to have, let's say, a special thing, a different thing to make life easier. But as I said, not only for the installer, we want to make it easy for you in the warehouse, easy for the installers in the warehouse, easy to transport. And this brought us to the decision to develop a system with a base frame, a so-called base frame, which is 1.20 meter long. Means you can staple it on a pallet, you can put it to the car to transport it to the site. And this base frame is for all panel sizes always the same. So means 1 meter 13.4 width of the panel. You can also do 1 meter 10 to 1 meter 14. It's also working. But we wanted to have a base frame to have one item for a south-orientated system, for east-west systems, and also for green zone clamping of the solar panels. And in Europe, we have also the clamping on the edge side. Depends on the snow. So different regions, different installations. So with only one base frame, where the top dome is pre-mounted, you can click it up. It's pre-mounted, and then you can install the panel. And between these base frames, we have a connector, which is also the base plate to the surface of the roof. And this base plate can be installed many times on this base frame. This is what you can calculate with our software. And interesting to see is, so I get always the question, how many load do you need for your system? So the answer is always the same. Every supplier is working with the same load because it's always the same with the wind tunnel test. What we have as an advantage is we are very close to the roof, and then we need less weight. And if you want to reduce the ballast again, you can insert some distance or extensions for a maintenance walk. And this makes your ballast also a little bit less than it is calculated. So this all are future. And important to say is the fixing of the panels can be done with the standard clamps, which are also in your warehouse for the roof applications, for the standard pitch roof applications. So means with only 3 items, you can install, or 4 items, you can install a fast flat roof system.
That's awesome. I was initially, when I watched the video, mesmerized by the flip up of the front foot, so the lower part of the panel, and you flip up the back foot and you put the panel down. Everything is already pre-spaced, so there's nothing you need to measure or align or anything like that. It's literally that pre-assembled piece that you put on the roof. You lay it out, you click it to the next row, the next row, the next row, depending on if it's east-west facing or just the south facing. But yeah, a very, very fast, as the product name says, system. In addition to that, I think you mentioned it is a galvanized steel base frame nowadays.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What went into that consideration?
We have, as I said, with a 2.5 gigawatt, we ship every year for ground mount. It's the same material, and over the years, over not only the few years we are working in SL Rack, over the years of experience from the history, we know how we can handle steel on roof applications. Also, when it comes to the coast, I know there is always a lot of discussion, but the same we have with ground mount. For example, we sell a lot of ground mount systems to Latin America. Then we need another coating, another zinc coating layer, but we know how to handle. And this is, we know how to do it. So this is important to say.
And what went into the, what was the consideration on going with galvanized steel as opposed to what everyone has done for 10, 20 years, which is aluminum?
Well, with the aluminum, it was also our previous system. And what the decision for it was, we can do faster with a pre-assembled item, like the holder you said, Alex, you said regarding installation on site. And what we do not want to have in the future is to cutting rails on the roof. If you have a PVC roof, you have there a lot of, let's say, waste which can harm the PVC. This was the decision to go to steel, and we can produce it by ourselves in our factory next to the ground mount, to the poles and binders and rafters. And this was also one of the ideas behind that we can do it by ourselves.
So you're saying
that have to.
Sorry, so you're saying there's no cutting required ever?
Exactly.
That's
and this
amazing.
is, again, you only need a battery-powered drilling machine and a TX40. That's it.
That's amazing.
That's it. Also, cable management is included. So we have a special PVC, UV-resistant PVC clip, which you can click in, bring in the MC4 connector or the connector of the panels, can install several cables, and everything is included. Also, the equipotential or the grounding is included with a standard clamp from the portfolio. Click it in, put in the wire, and fix it with the TX40. So everything is without any special items or equipment. And this is important for us. This is how we do the complete portfolio.
Besides the innovation of how to do it and going with that flip system, going steel also reduces a significant cost chunk of the aluminum system in the past. I think that is in a very competitive market like the European market, which is still quite a bit cheaper and a few years ahead from a price perspective than North American installations. I think bringing that steel product to the Canadian and the US market, I think is a huge step forward, because systems and installers are tight in how they need to quote, and the competition is tough. So having a product that is very cost competitive compared to existing system is really key.
And we have to consider with this pre-mounted system, it's not only the steel, but with this pre-mounted system, you have, as an installer, you have a big advantage price-wise because you're faster than ever. And or in other words, maybe you do twice systems before you did one. Now you do the same, but twice. So this is price-wise unbelievably crazy. And good.
Yeah, and the racking has become a bigger, not just racking, but also the labor component have become a bigger and bigger portion of the overall system cost over the last 5 years, when panels used to be over $1 a watt a few years ago, and now we're looking into, in Europe it's 10 cents, right, per watt. So quite a big change.
It's all over the same. So panels dropping, inverters, batteries, labor costs are still the same or higher, going higher. Mm-hmm. And with a rack, we have to go the same way to be competitive. And when the labor costs are rising, and we can cut this with our technology, with an easy, simple system, then it's successful for all parties. Yeah.
Besides your flat roof racking, fast flat, what else can people be excited about with SL Rack?
Yeah, so there are small bits and pieces. For example, I guess you have also the same trend in North America with full black panels and full black systems. So and here the same. So in Germany we always say, doesn't matter the energy output, it only needs to be full black. So and what we did are very small items. We call it rail cover. So where the end clamp is, to put on a rail cover, to make a silver rail black with only a few cent articles or items. You can bring the end customer a much better feeling because it looks great, So it's at the end it's a fake, but it's anodized aluminium and it looks great over years. It's not plastic. This is important for us. So it means there's an end cap, a rail cover, a black clamp, a full black panel, and this is what makes a solar system in 2024 or 25 looking great and more interesting to all people, not only in Germany or Europe.
Yeah, absolute game changer, because I always see black modules and then people use silver clamps sometimes. I don't know why those decisions are being made. Or then the ends of the rails are not painted with a spray, so the silver aluminum is sticking out on the corners. So it could be so much nicer by using either black rails, which is very difficult and typically expensive, but having a cover like your black cover will pretty much eliminate that silver sticking out, and black clamps, black end caps. So really a closed, fully black, good-looking system for the end customer.
Yeah. And another innovation we launched is a very unique facade system. So, so the buildings are always different. Either a roof is full with solar panels or the statical loads are not enough to take more capacity on the roof. And it's all over the world the same. So there are warehouses with very good orientations to face the sun. And we developed a really unique facade system because it's the first system who clamps the panels on the wall with equipotential bonding, with theft protection, with it's vandalism ready, so nobody can harm it. No panel can fall out of the frames or of the clamps. And this is what we launched this year at Intersolar in June. And this is a really great innovation. So only to give you some information how the competitors are doing, they go with standard clamps. Maybe the bolts are too less to take the weight. Yeah. And our rails, we call it the SL energy wall. These rails are really, really great because they fix a panel, and also like the fast flat roof system, you can install it by yourself alone. So you don't need a colleague to help. It's really, really easy to install, and it's the safest system on the market all over the globe.
Yeah, we see in Canada, we've seen it for a few years now, especially in Western Canada. We've seen a fair bit of wall mount systems. A lot of commercial, actually, like where they fill the roof, but then they also want to fill the wall also because of visibility.
Yep.
For marketing, right? Because I don't know what it's like in Europe, probably less so because everyone has solar now in southern Germany. But here, a lot of it is, well, we do something good for the planet, or we're contributing, right? So it's a really good solution for businesses like that, where you can put 10 kilowatts on a side of the building.
And as I saw,
exactly.
it's a continuous channel, actually. So you have a gapless system. You have a little lip that you put on, so you cannot see the bolts at the end of the day. So it's a very good-looking, wall system. Yeah. And especially if you use fully black panels on top of that. So you have a black rail with the black covers. There are no gaps in between. There are no, nothing
nice.
Sticks out really, and that's really the game
exactly.
changer.
So it looks like a black wall. That's it.
Yeah,
completely black or black painted wall. Yeah. And the other thing is, for the installers, it's a new business model. So if you are there, if you have one customer, you can install not only, for example, 10 kilowatt, you can install now 20, and this is extension of your business model, and this is also interesting to know and to have to talk about, to bring this to the end customers.
Yeah, and one of the nice things in Canada, where we do have a lot of snow, obviously it won't stick as much on a south-facing vertical system, right? So if you need that winter production, for whatever reason, it's quite nice.
This is why we developed it, because we live in an area where also 1 meter snow is on the roof.
Yeah.
So it's the same situation: heat pumps, EV cars, and so on. So, but no solar power during the winter times, and the facade is great. It's really great.
The online tool is a huge part of designing, racking, or giving people tools on their hands that they can pick the right components, the right design, or having a very quick system design if they want to do it themselves. What do you have on the helpers from the software perspective?
Yeah. So right now, to our podcast, we are ready with the implementation of the Canadian statical load requirements. So this is very important to say. Our software calculator is called the Solar Pro tool from SLREC. There are all items are included to calculate not only how many hooks or how many fixings you need per, I don't know, square meter or per meter, or so important for us is to have a tool where you can calculate and do also 3D animations, do string wiring, do the storage implementation, do the economy calculation, and get a full report. If you need a report for sure, to hand over to the end customer to say, look at this, I'm a very professional installer from the start to the end. This is your solar system with a statical calculation, with the panels, with the storage, with the self-consumption, and so on and so on and so on. This is what we can hand over. In addition, we are working on a second tool, which is called the SLREC PV Cloud. So there are then two systems available. On one side, the full package, let's say. On the other hand, or the other side, a tool which makes it possible to calculate a solar system within 1 minute or 2 minutes. Means mark you the corners of your roof, select it on Google Maps, mark the corners, and then select a solar panel, press the button, and then you have the bill of material and the statical report within 1 or 2 minutes, depends on your internet connection. And this is what we want to what we want to ensure. We want to give the engineer a full package. We want to give the, let's say, startup or the newcomers in the branch a new system which makes it easy to fulfill all demands and requirements. And this is the new software we want to launch in December this year.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you have your hands full of lots of cool things that you're working on. I'm sure you're very busy. How do you manage? Obviously, we talked previously. Family is a big part of you and what's important to you. How do you manage to handle both the high amount of workload that you have, and then at the same time be there for your family and spend time with them and all of that stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. So, well, how to handle it is always the false answer. So if you ask my wife, for sure, it's always the false.
All of us.
But, well, so for sure, it's not a 9-to-5 job. Not the last 3.5 years, not now. But for sure, if the company is growing, we have to set up different ways how we can handle it. So, but we are on a good way to proceed on that. So with new colleagues, with good colleagues, to swift the work. But as you said, so I want to see my daughters growing up. This is important. I want to see my wife. Yeah. And I hope she's thinking the same way. Yeah. So and also for me in person. So there is also not only a work balance, a life balance is also necessary. Yeah.
You previously mentioned when we were talking before we went online here about you love downhill cycling. As someone that cycles a fair bit myself, how did you get into that, and like how does it help you release stress, I guess, from all the work you're doing?
Well, yeah. Usually, if we talk about downhill cycling, it's dangerous because during the day with SLREC we're going up, or the way up we want to do, and downhill is going down. So you need a clear brain if you do that. Well, It's how it comes to downhill. It's very interesting because my cousin was driving it and said, let's try it. And I said, oh no, I'm too heavy. I can't. And I'm not too heavy. So I was joking about. And as he said, let's try it. Let's go there. And then we do it. And I'm happy because only 15 kilometers away from my house is the first downhill park in Europe. And this is great because we go there, and I'm not the complete crazy guy who is only going down and going up with the elevator and going down and waiting to the helicopter to the hospital. I'm a little bit different, yeah.
I'm glad.
So we go with hybrid bikes, going up and then downhill and then go home. So it's a little bit different to extreme sport, yeah.
Right now, Oktoberfest is on in Munich and all over Bavaria. We actually, as a company, took our employees to Oktoberfest, as we do every year. Part of that little heritage that remains as a German company in Canada.
It's a Bavarian company.
A Bavarian company specifically, from Nuremberg. What is Oktoberfest like in Bavaria?
Well, Oktoberfest in Munich, it's a trend. I guess it's from the 1920s or around the early 19s. I read it in Wikipedia some years ago where COVID was. There at this time no Oktoberfest has been. Well, for us, Oktoberfest, we have a lot of beer fests or a lot of fests here in Bavaria. But the Oktoberfest, globally wise, it's a big trend. You have it in the US, you have it in China, you have it in Canada, I guess. But for us at SLREC, we also participate at the Beer Garden Fest. So every year at Intersolar, we have our own big Beer Garden Fest here in Haag. And it's not only a party, it is a Bavarian traditional fest at SLREC or Ludwigsleder. And we want to say thank you to our customers during this time to this or with this fest. So means every year on the second day of Intersolar, we bring a lot of around 1,200 installers and customers to Haag, where we are. It's a big beer garden with a view to the Alps. It's an unbelievable great panorama. And we have there one evening all customers here, all important customers or new customers, and want to say thank you. Yeah.
Alex, I think we got to go to Intersolar
it's very
next
easy,
year.
so
We have to.
So I want to invite you now, but please consider as a wholesaler. So the amount of free beer or Freibier, how we say in Germany, depends on the revenue.
Oh, gotcha.
You have to wait. You have to work for it. Yeah.
Fair enough. We're not too worried. I think we'll be fine.
What are the big misconceptions Americans or Canadians may have about Bavarians? Are you guys always wearing lederhosen and dindels all the time, or what's going on?
So I'm not sitting here with lederhosen. So we also wear jeans or some other clothes, So we are not living and sleeping in dindels and lederhosen. So there is a life next to Oktoberfest and our all other beer fests we have here.
Awesome. Florian, thank you so much. What's the best way for people to get in touch with SLRAC?
Well, the best way is there are certain ways. So either LinkedIn or YouTube or on our website, there are all contact persons are listed to get directly in touch. And if you're, let's say, not in Germany, if you're in North America, directly go to Frankensolar because we are starting together, or we started together. So it's the most easiest thing to keep in touch. But also, if I can say it, our newsletter is great because then you get information about all our innovations, not only about Canada, but also about Europe, everything what we do new, also about new online webinars, which are for free. You can join it in several languages. And so there are many ways to get in touch with us. And on the other side, everybody is busy. Let's say in other words, you can decide how to get in touch with us and when. So there is also on Sundays or Saturdays, it's the option to check some YouTube webinars how the configurator is working. So it's up on every customer.
And besides that, you guys are also attending the Canadian Electricity Transformation Canada show in Calgary soon. So we're very excited.
For the second time? They were
For the
there
second
last
time,
year,
exactly.
yeah.
For the second time, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, and we're hosting a party together with SL Rack the day before or I guess the first night of the event. Also, sponsoring will be Anchor as well. So it'll be quite a big party, and we'll all be wearing our lederhosen, I think.
Should we? We should.
I think we should.
You have to.
I think we have to. Yeah, and yeah. So we'll be able to see your team there, right? So who's coming from your team?
Yeah, so 2 colleagues from my team are joining the party and also the fair. So it's again Sarah, which was last year also there, and my colleague Thomas. Sarah is a specialist in technical sales, knows about, or he's, let's say, the lady who is in charge of software. That's great. So if you have questions, ask her. And also Thomas, who is working in my team regarding sales. So the full power of sales is there. Or will be there.
That's awesome.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Florian. This was awesome. Hopefully we can do it again sometime. And yeah, looking forward to catching up with you soon again.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure for me. It's great.
Thanks, Florian.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.